perspective. Faisal, Embark is a consulting firm which focuses on marketing services and has been at the forefront of advising clients and customers within the virtual assets segment. How have you seen the market evolve? So what is your perspective on the way things are moving?
So just to give you the perspective across what just happened very recently, the regulation or the legalization. Now, the direct impact that we would see is, in the past we've seen some of the brands not being able to advertise on certain channels or certain social platforms because of the regulation issues, right? The likes of the Googles or the Twitters, they don't allow all the brands to very comfortably advertise on their platforms. And I think because of the regulations, this is going to help the social platforms also to open up the gates and allow more companies to enter into the region from an advertising perspective. So I would say that it's going to be a huge boom from a marketing perspective for new companies to enter into the market and start advertising.
That's brilliant. So a very positive picture overall, no matter which angle you look at it from. So I'm going to dip into some of the data that you shared, and it's really interesting, and in a way it shows us how big the opportunity is for everyone. So the data still shows that 60% of prospects have not explored investment in crypto, which means that there is an opportunity for all of us. And around 65% of the folks who have not explored crypto cite lack of understanding, lack of government regulation, and some of these issues as the major challenges or major barriers why they haven't considered investing in crypto. Although they have the capacity, they have been investing in other investment vehicles, but they haven't dipped into crypto yet, right? So my question is that, Haris, how do you tackle these issues? And I'm sure that there are quite a few other issues that you tackle on day-to-day basis. And what are the strategies that RAIN is deploying to grow basically in this region?
Yeah, so I think since crypto is new to this region, it's as Faisal also mentioned, there's like a lot of challenges in terms of platforms that you can advertise and how you can actually win the trust of the customers versus the global and the local players. So the first thing to really grow any business in any market is just to really understand the local dynamics of that region. And when you say local dynamics, specifically in the context of crypto, it's basically trying to understand the potential crypto audience in this region. What exactly are they looking for? What are their concerns? What they really, try to explore out of crypto, and at which particular stage of the journey they are. So what we understood at this point in time, of course, if you see the potential, it's massive and it's huge. But a considerable portion of people in this region, they're still looking for information and they're still looking for educating themselves on the crypto knowledge and information. And that's actually, I strongly believe, can be a pivotal point for the companies to start to educate the customers what crypto is, how they can buy, how they can sell, what are the added benefits, and all the potential concerns that they have in mind. It's a long journey to actually educate all the potential customers, and from there onwards, they will start to gradually adopt. Again, looking into the trends, it's like the monthly growth in terms of the people looking for crypto. People are signing up on global and international platform. It's outbreaking, and I think to be more specific in terms of how different crypto exchanges are doing this, so they just try to find the local avenues. For example, if you are unable to advertise on Google, then what exactly are the other avenues which are working? So it can be like affiliate marketing, ad networks, influencer marketing, and there are a couple of other avenues that you can really explore to reach the audience at a mass scale that you are doing. There are tons of challenges on the outdoor marketing and advertisement as well at this point in time. But I think since the regulations are very close, specifically for GCC, in most of the countries, so I think that challenge will also be out of the equation. So again, I think it seems to be a very bright future. Yeah.
That's good to hear. Faisal, do you have something to add to that? Because I'm sure from a marketing firm's perspective, I'm sure you have a few tools that you can bring to the table to assist brands like RAIN and others who are entering the market or trying to grow in the market.
Yeah, absolutely. As we uncovered through the data also that there's a opportunity but then there's also a lack of awareness about what crypto or what the companies are trying to establish, right? Now, talking the language of marketing, there's always the first step of marketing within the funnel is awareness. So what we need to make sure is that there is ample awareness and ample understanding of the brand, of the space itself, for us to build that trust within the consumers, for them to start coming and becoming our customers. So I think brands need to start understanding that the capture of performance will definitely happen once we have the right seeds put across for driving the awareness and consideration. And I think going back to the point on the regulations, it's also going to open up the opportunities for brands to have mass awareness across on outdoor channels or more across on print channels, which all help in the awareness and consideration. We utilize channels like influencer marketing, so we select very, the right kind of people or the right kind of profiles to have the engagement across with the relevant target audiences. So I think it's just about the right choice of channels to be able to first of all have the mindset of how do we drive awareness and consideration, and then move into the zone of really getting the acquisitions coming through.
That's brilliant. Thanks for that. In the slides that you shared, one of the slides that I found most interesting was around people choosing global platforms over the regional ones. So in this region, there has been a bit of a history of supporting the regional startups, be it Noon, be it Kareem. So my question for you once again, Haris, is that what could the regional platforms like Rain do to counter this trend that we see right now, where 85% of the regional individual investors still prefer investing in global platforms that they are more aware of, that everybody is talking about. But I mean, personal basis, I think that Rain has done a good job. I mean, Coin MENA has done a good job. BitOasis has done a good job to be the front runners, at least in this industry. So the question to you is that what are the regional platforms like Rain doing to counter this trend and unlock the potential in the region?
Sure. So I strongly believe that I think it's just a matter of time that will definitely start to happen. But if you just go back 3 to 5 years back, how many local players that we had in the region versus the global players. So all the people who really want to trade in crypto, the only option that they get is the international exchanges or the order books where they can actually trade. Now, during the last 2 to 3 years, you see a lot of trend coming into the local exchanges. So the two examples that you mentioned about the local players which were head to head with the global big giants, which is basically one of the example is Noon versus Amazon, and the other is Kareem versus Uber, which they both are like kind of head to head with each other in this region. So I think one of the strength that these local companies have over the global is basically homegrown, local, customized, and just make sure that they really understand the region well enough versus the global player. And that's where the differentiated element that you can make for your customers in terms of how you understand them and how you facilitate them. I mean, I've been part of Kareem, for example, and I can tell you that they guys have country-specific marketing campaigns, even at the brand perception and the brand positioning, and that's where the localization comes into the equation. That the global players are basically missing out on that. So I think it's just a matter of time. During the last 2 to 3 years, we have tons of local players coming over. Once they started to scale up their game in the region, then they will head to head with each other, for sure.
That's good. And you were, when we were chatting before the panel started, you were talking about having some of the coins which are Sharia compliant, ability to transfer the funds into our integration with the banking infrastructure here. So those are very, very interesting initiatives that you have.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not basically an exchange which you can actually connect with being a Sharia compliant or not. It's basically the assets that you trade on it. And some of the assets that you see on Rain, they are already Sharia compliant. So we have actually a certified Sharia compliant assets on our platform, which actually gives, again, it's basically the localization that you really understand the local challenges, the local dynamics, and then you try to provide that information and manage things accordingly. So yeah, it's basically a particular point that you can either try to connect being compliant, Sharia compliant or not, but the coins that Rain has are all Sharia compliant.
Thank you, Haris. So Oliver, coming back to you, MENA region is viewed by a lot of people as a region that is a complex region. There are a lot of undercurrents. In this space, crypto space specifically, the regulation is evolving. So you deal with a lot of companies and actually you facilitate their entry into the market. But from your experience, anybody who is trying to enter MENA market, what are the challenges that they could potentially face, and what is it that you can do to assist their journey of entering into this region and unlocking the potential of the MENA region? A disclaimer there that Haris might not like you giving all those details because that means more competition for Haris, but we would love to hear and dip into your experience of how you are facilitating bringing some of the global brands and having them come into the region.
Yeah. Hello? Yeah. First of all, I think competition is always good. From this side, I don't think Rain have to be afraid about competition. What we see also in our ecosystem, we have a lot of small exchanges who are trying to onboard. Yeah. Principally, the main challenges where they're focusing is first of all the regulations. Yeah, to find the right license. Second one is the partnerships, the sponsorships for what they're looking for. And another point is, of course, the right environment according to the infrastructure, co-working space, all this kind of things to get a proper incubation. The other point, of course, is capital. A lot of companies have good ideas and they have a leak on capital, most likely in the seed rounds. So what Crypto Aces did here, we have two investment products. So we're investing in early stage tokens, early stage blockchain companies, also metaverse and NFTs to support our ecosystem here directly in the region. Yeah, and the other topic I would say is it's like finding the right team, the people. It's always a big challenge. And we have a lot of young companies who are starting with us. They come and say, I need this, I need that, I need some of a marketing, accounting, there's all kinds of different jobs available. So I think these are the most things what they're facing, like on the practical side. So as we're also like accelerator at the end, we're trying to support without giving advice. It's a bit complicated sometimes, but it's very important that you choose your partners very carefully. Yeah. Especially in a growing market, what we have here in the MENA region, there are unfortunately a lot of scammers running around and just offering service what they cannot deliver. And we're trying to protect wherever it's going, so if you need really an honest opinion or something, yeah, you always can come to us at the Crypto Center, yeah, and we're trying to support you in your different issues what you have.
That's great. Haris, from your side, Rain is to a degree a startup as well. And so on your journey, when you reflect on your journey, and I mean, you know, it's a company that has been established, I would say relatively recently. It has shown, it has a track record of good growth, it has built a very good team. But when you reflect on your journey, what are some of the challenges that you have had to overcome as you grew your business and your brand in the region?
Yeah, so Rain currently, we have about more than 500 people in the team, and when I joined about like 8 to 9 months back, there were about like only 100 people. So yeah, I think on that, so we still think is it still a startup or not, but yeah. So I think for Rain, I think if you just try to look back in the early days, the biggest challenge that any cryptocurrency brokerage can have is basically just to first get the license of being regulated. Because that is, I think, is super important, not from only the customer standpoint, that customer will be able to trust you more when they use your platform. It's also very much required from the operational capabilities as well. That, for example, any bank will not give you an account unless and until you are a regulated exchange for the region. And that actually also facilitates customer to an extent that if you want to buy something from the exchange, then you can just simply do a bank deposit and then your account will be reflected on that. Versus if you try to purchase through a card, which has about 3.5 to 4% fees on top of what you're actually buying. So I strongly believe that for any new startup, this is crypto exchange. This is the biggest challenge, just to get themselves regulated. And once they have, of course, there's like tons of challenges for any business to grow, and especially crypto has a lot of more challenges versus other businesses. So, for example, if you have a lot of money, acquiring a lot of customers for ride-hail, food delivery, or e-commerce is way different from a crypto broker exchange. It's a very niche market, very targeted market. Along with a lot of challenges that we just discussed in terms of able to advertise on mass reach platforms like Google and Facebook. It is quite different and quite challenging at this point in time, but yeah, things are pretty much changing. So for example, Google officially announced to advertise any kind of crypto product in US and Japan, and I think it's not very far away when the GCC region will also be advertised to run all of these things. Yeah, so I think it's just a matter of time on that.
That's brilliant. We could continue this conversation for a long time, but as we are running out of time, I would like to wrap up. But before I do that, leaning on your experience, and Oliver, we will start with you. You have dealt with a lot of clients, you have helped a lot of companies enter the market, get established. What is one word of advice you would give to a business that is either coming into the market or, one word of advice for someone who is trying to grow their business in the region? So probably you can put it into two different buckets. One bucket of companies that are trying to enter the market. What is one word of advice for them? And then for the other bucket of people who are trying to grow their business.
I could talk approximately 20 minutes about it, so I try to keep it short.
And I'm sure it will be a very fascinating talk.
Yes, first of all, I think come to visit the Crypto Center and the DMCC. We are more than happy to support. Yeah, I think that's the best advice what you can give, and talk with a lot of people just to get a good overview about the possibilities and the responsibilities here in the UAE. I'm very happy that Dubai is a front runner of all of this, and but still we have different free zones, we have different licenses, different regulations, and different free zones. And I just think my advice would be take time, make your analysis, talk with people, yeah, listen to people. I think that's the best advice we can give.
Brilliant. Faisal, you are dealing with a lot of clients that are very active in the fintech industry. What is your one word of advice to a business specifically that is trying to grow in the region?
Yeah, I'd say, understanding the customers becomes paramount. As new companies start to come in, we've seen that there's interest across segments, but I think the most important thing is to understand your product, your profiling, and then focusing across the entire spectrum of driving awareness, consideration, purchase, and then the influence across other customers. So that's going to be my advice.
Sure, yeah, and spot on, because this is where the insights that you have brought today are extremely valuable, because they give a very, very clear idea of what are the Arab investors or prospects thinking about, because there could be a lot of white papers that are written in US or Europe, but this region is different. So research and surveys of this sort and insights of this sort are extremely helpful. And coming back to you, Haris, what would be your one word of advice for the brands in the region who are trying to grow?
Yeah, I think what Faisal mentioned, I think the product market fit is the most important thing, because you really have to understand what exactly are you trying to offer to your customers and how it's basically serving them. Because any activity or any growth or marketing initiative that you can apply on top of it, your business will only sustain if it's helping the customers, if it's facilitating the customers. So yeah, I would say product market fit.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. We really appreciate it. I think we still have a little bit of time. If there are one or two questions, then we would love to take those questions. Please raise your hand, and it's a small room, so you can just shout out what the question is. And we'll do our best to address it.
I like the shouting of the shouting.
Yeah. I think you guys were so brilliant that you have probably addressed all the questions that people had in their minds. Last chance, folks. Any questions that you might have? or Haris, Oliver, or Faisal? If not, then it's a wrap. Sorry, Haris, you wanted to say something?
I was just saying that I think everyone is a pro. Yeah, just
No, I think as we agreed earlier that if anyone has a question or something, note it down. If you see it in the outside, if you remember something, just approach them while they're walking. It's okay. It's not stalking. That's fine. But it's a question to be asked. Why not? Right?
Absolutely.
You're fine with that.
Yeah, we're still here, so don't worry.
So, thank you very much, everyone, for being here. Appreciate you attending this panel. So once again, just to let you know that Embark is a marketing, fintech-focused marketing consulting firm. We provide end-to-end solutions to brands who are either trying to enter the market or trying to grow their presence here. We are here at stand number 96. Please come and talk to us. We would love to have a conversation and get to know you better. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Faisal. Thank you, Oliver. Haris, thank you so much. And thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you.